but she's sort of compliant and she's saying that. I like what Mark just said though. It's like, why do we need the water off? What happens if boiling water continues to boil? It's not like a pot of oil or something like that, or maybe they couldn't tell.
It just evaporates.
Yeah, it evaporates. So maybe they couldn't tell. They're gonna say, well, gee, it could have been anything on the stove. Okay, but the wisdom of telling someone who you know or should have known is mentally ill to go grab water, hot water, and then perceive that them grabbing hot water as a threat makes no sense. There's a lot of like legal theories about that's called officer created jeopardy, state created danger. And in a nutshell, it says you can't create your own exigency, right? If a vehicle's coming at me and a guy's trying to run me over, the law allows me to shoot at this person or do anything else to use like deadly force against someone who's trying to kill me with a vehicle. But I can't go run out on the freeway here and stand in the middle of the freeway right now and then shoot the guy who's coming at me and then say, well, you guys said I could shoot people who were trying to drive me over. You say, well, wait a minute, Scott, that doesn't make any sense. You put yourself in that situation. And I sometimes think that, as cops, we do things that we're not playing chess or playing checkers. We got to think a few steps ahead here. Like, this isn't smart, what I'm about to do. Yeah. And when the person does do that and is not, arming themselves with a knife or a gun or something like that, but is holding onto some water, I think there's about 20 other ways to handle that, right? Other than with planting your feet in the ground and pointing a gun at her.
I do think it's interesting. I mean, we should take into account that it's 12:50 in the morning when they're getting this call. It was about 30 minutes before the first shots were fired. But you're going into a home, you're recognizing that someone has boiling water on, kind of disheveled. That's all different. It's like the general public is sleeping. Like, they had to have keyed in on that. All of those things. Like, all of those things are things any good police officer is going to recognize.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so it gets interesting when now she goes and grabs the pot of boiling water, right? Could you argue that hot boiling water could cause great bodily injury if thrown on you? Maybe. Maybe I don't know how much water was in this pot. The officers did start to close the distance on her when she picks that up. Let's talk about the deputy who fired the shots, his initial reaction to when she says, because he's laughing and joking with her, like literally he's laughing with her as she's going to turn the water off. And it wasn't until she made the comment about, Jesus will rebuke you or I will rebuke you. And I mean, it flipped a switch in him and he went from 0 to 100. The things that he said to her, I'm going to, F and shoot you in the face. To me, I mean, that comes across like this guy is.
My issue, why isn't he backing up? Right? Bring out the tasers or back up and back out of the apartment. They don't need to be in there. They already did an investigation. There's no crime. They just wanted her ID. They were going to ID her for the report and leave. She's the one who called. She's not a threat. Well, she wasn't a threat previously, so she's not someone who was, antagonizing them or they had a back and forth or, disorderly conduct type situation. No, she is the potential victim calling someone broke in or whatever. You came in, you checked, no one's there, whatever. So there's no real strong need, like we gotta be in here, like there would be if this is somebody who, there's a strong possibility that you were going to arrest. Either you arrest warrant or based on their behavior, right? You hadn't arrested them yet, but things were headed there very quickly. And you still need to assess the situation before you decide to arrest or just leave it be. So you don't want to just walk off, right? Or maybe it's someone, there's kids in the home, which I mentioned in my previous video. Maybe there's kids in the home and she's acting a little crazy and you're trying to make a judgment call. Is it safe to to leave this house with this woman? Nothing. It's just her. There's none of that going on. So there's no strong reason, like, we have to be in here, right? And if we have to be in here, we got to be in a safe way and we don't want to get thrown in the hot water. No, man. If you're not in there, she can't throw the hot water on you. If you're worried about the hot water, step off, step out, right? Even if they still want to engage with her for whatever reason, right? I think choose the path of least resistance. Back up. Back out of her throwing range. Walk at least to the door. Go to the door. Stand in the doorway, right? That's not good enough for you to feel nervous. Keep your hands on your guns if you want to. Don't take them out. Keep them in the holster. Preferably, you use a stun gun, right? Instead of, or something non-lethal. Last resort to pull out your actual guns, especially when the only reason that she is a potential threat is based on your decision to be this close to someone that you don't need to be. Now, Officer Tatum had made some statement. He's a very dishonest guy, so I wouldn't trust what he says, but he made some claim that she actually had thrown water at them prior to the shots being fired. I would need to examine the video myself to see if that's true or not. That kind of changes things, makes it a little bit more complicated. But if you remove that, I say back up. Back up.
Like just itching for that scenario where he gets to use deadly force. Maybe that's a stretch, but from what he's saying and the tone of his voice, it's almost like like he like wants to be in that scenario. And I want to talk about like when cops make statements like that, like I'm going to shoot you. Are those things appropriate to say to people that you feel like you might have to do that to somebody? Yes, I think that there are times when it is okay to tell somebody that, and it's all recorded on body cam. If you do this, I'm going to do this. I don't have a problem with that. Where I have a problem with this guy is him saying, I'm going to effing shoot you in the face. Then the shots are fired, and then his buddy wants to get the medic bag, and he's like, dude, I shot her in the effing face. She's done. I don't know. Like, let's talk about from the point that she grabs that boiling water, and he goes from 0 to 100, and then he kind of closes that distance on her a little bit as she ducks under the counter. Is that legal reason to shoot somebody?
No, I think it's very clear because it's not really our opinion whether it's legal or not. It's the local prosecuting attorney who said, no, it wasn't illegal, or it wasn't a legal shoot, right? Even if we were, which we're not, saying that's a good shoot, that was legal. Like, it doesn't matter what we think, it's the attorney. And that sometimes cops don't understand that. I don't determine as a police officer what is reasonable force. I don't write in my report, I used a reasonable amount of force. That's determined by the trier of fact, which is a judge or jury. That's not for me to say, right? I try to demonstrate the fact that it was reasonable, but here, the attorney, district attorney, whatever they call it there, is saying this is not a legal shooting. If you go to the video, she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And I'm wondering, like, does this cop know what the word rebuke means?
I don't.
Here it is. I looked it up. To express sharp, stern disapproval of, reprove, or reprimand. So in other words, she was saying, I strongly disapprove of you in the name of Jesus. That's not a threat, right? It's not like I said, hey, I'm about to get this water. I'm like,
okay, I have a little problem with that. And that is, though what they're saying is technically true, it also applies to Allah Akbar, right? You go to an airport and put your hand in your pocket in front of security and say, Allah Akbar, and see what happens to you. Now, I'm not saying that justifies them shooting and killing you, but let's just say you're going to get pretty aggressive of a response. Now, I don't remember exactly what that statement means, but I think it's like, go with God or something like that. It's not something like I'm gonna kill you or whatever. It's something go with God or God be with you or some, I don't know. It's some religious sentiment that does not in any way mean I'm a terrorist or I'm gonna kill you or I want to kill you or you're gonna die, right? It's Allah, right? Allah, and then whatever Akbar means. But I mean, it's a similar thing. So it's not. Sometimes people say things. It's not about what it means. It's about the intent behind it. And I could see a crazy person saying, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and then she throws hot water on me or something like that. I mean, first of all, you're doing it with somebody who has a mental issue. So, this means that they do things that are illogical, right? So, you combine that with now you're getting religious. Now, I'm not saying that justifies them shooting her, but I'm just saying you can't just look at that and like, well, it's not like she's threatening to kill him. She did say something that I could see somebody reasonably looking at as like, okay, whoa, what's about to happen here? Again, that alone is not a justification of shooting, but I don't think it's something that's totally, she just said that. She just said bless you. No. I could see somebody getting nervous off of that phrase. My opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it on you. So did he, because he didn't know the definition of that, interpret this as some threat? I don't know. But that doesn't give you a right to do it. And if you, again, go to California, that an officer can use deadly force when they believe a person presents an imminent threat of death or they use the word great bodily harm to the police officer or another person, and they define imminent as when, based on the totality of the circumstances, a reasonable officer in the same situation will believe the person has the present ability, opportunity, and apparent intent. So using what occurred with Miss Massey, the present ability would be the hot water. The opportunity would be the fact that, I guess, the officer is in a throwable distance of said water.
And she's
holding.
She has to be able to have the ability to even throw it on him. So
That's right. And then the apparent intent, well, I don't know if this is in the officer's mind. He thought the statement about being rebuked in the name of Jesus was some formulation of intent, but nothing up until that point has she demonstrated hostile intent. Matter of fact, she's been nothing but cooperative. Mentally ill is not the same as hostile. right? She's done nothing to be hostile. She's the one that called for help. She said, hey, I think there's a prowler outside. I'm looking for my ID, but I want to give you some documents that I want you to read. And you told me to go turn off the boiling water, and I'm doing just what you said, right? And so for the officer to then interpret this as a threat, it's not reasonable, right? He may...
Looking at it. I want you to watch what happens right here. You're going to see the steam. When I play it the first time, don't watch her. Watch this boiling hot water hit this table and hit this ground, and watch the steam that comes up. Therefore, you know she threw the boiling hot water. You see that steam? Let's go back. She throws the water. You see that steam right here?
The problem with your theory, Mr. Tatum, is in order for there to be that much steam that far away from where she is in the pot, she'd have to throw pretty much all the water. Right? If it's just a little bit of water, it's not going to make that amount of steam. So I would wonder, is the pot now empty, or is the amount of water in the pot now making it no longer a big threat? Right? If you have just a little bit of water in a pot, it's not going to do much damage. It can still, but it becomes a much lower threat.
This is that boiling hot water that she threw this direction. And if you keep watching that area, just watch it. I wish I could do it in slow mo. Can I do it? Can I slow it down? Watch it in slow motion, okay? I want you to watch it. She pops up, he goes back. She pops up here. You can't see it from this angle, her, but you can see the steam. I want you to look at the water and the steam hit this floor right here. See that steam? And people are saying she never threw the pot. She actually did throw the pot. Now, whether you think he's justified or not is on you. Whether you think he should have ever been there, he should have done different tactics is a different story, and that's debatable, right? And that's what they're going to articulate in the court of law. Now, let's look at it from the other angle so you can see a different angle of what happened. Many people are articulating that she actually didn't have anything in her hands when she went down the first time. Let's watch it, because it's pretty reasonable to think that, but we got to watch it all the way through. He pulls the gun. She ducks. She got both hands up, right? Now, this is what people I think are missing. When the camera pans, she must have put the pot on the ground or something. Because as you're going to see in slow motion, she's going to pick a pot up and throw it, and you're going to see the steam come up because it's hot water. She does have her hands up here. I would have loved to see the situation be over right here. He pulls the gun. He said, you better not do it. She say, okay, I wish this would have been over. As a matter of fact, in a reasonable situation, this would have been over. Somebody would have just said, all right, this man gonna shoot me, I'm done. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't want no problems. But clearly this woman is not, she's not operating right. So we're gonna watch two things here. You see, look, she's coming up with something in her hand, which it looks like a pot. You see her throw the pot? Let's go back. I want you to watch it. I want you to watch her for a second. Don't watch anything else. I want you to watch her. She's going to appear here, and you're going to see the pot in her hand. She's going to throw the pot at this officer. Just watch it. She comes up. She throws the pot. And you see the steam from the boiling hot water right here. It's still steaming as you watch this. And a lot of people are saying that she didn't throw the pot. I mean, you can argue that he wasn't justified if you want to. But there's still steam on this chair right here from that boiling hot water. It's still steaming. You can see it right here. It's still steaming from the...
So I would want to look at the timing. Did she throw the hot water and then they killed her? Because by her throwing the hot water, she has now gotten rid of the threat. Right? The threat was her throwing the hot water on them. If she throws the hot water out and it doesn't hit them, it's not like she can reload. It's not like it's a gun where she fired the shot. Now we're going to fire the shot because we're not going to let you fire more shots. If she threw the water, she fired her one shot. She's no longer a threat. Why would you then shoot her? So I want to look at the timing of that. It clearly looks like what Officer Tatum is saying is true, that she did in fact throw the water, and in my view, a majority of it because that amount of steam that far, right? That means that's a high concentration of water, right? To do that and then still have enough left in the pot to be a threat, I don't see it. Anyway, what are your thoughts? This is Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.